Stakes Fantasy live stream here on the NFFC. Tonight it's another Rotowire Online Championship, $250,000 grand prize as we close out the month of May. This is going to be another great draft tonight. This is a big night for us, Darik. Not only we got a live stream here with the Rotowire Online Championship, but we're about 3 hours away from the end of our early bird discount. That's $100 off every prime time and classic entry that people can take. So a lot of signups are pouring in tonight for the prime time and classic. Going to have a big day of signups. So again, Darik, I want to tell people, if you want to get $100 off on a prime time and classic, head on over to playnffc.com. Take advantage of this early bird discount because it's only going to be in effect for another 3 hours, right?
Well, until I fall asleep, so it might stretch to. It might go a little bit past midnight central, but yeah, no, tonight's last night. It won't be on in the morning when anyone else gets up. So whatever time I end up going to sleep tonight, I will shut it off. And so you got about 3-4 hours. So get it done now. No need to rush it. And maybe I fall asleep earlier than normal. So yep, get it done by midnight central, 1 Eastern. We'll be good.
All right, hard and fast deadlines, all right, may or may not be in place tonight. But as far as this draft goes, we are excited about 3 minutes away from the start of it. Again, a $250,000 grand prize on the line in the Rotowire Online Championship this year. We're selling out these drafts pretty much every day right now. Obviously, the pace is really going to start picking up now that the weather is turning. Certainly here in Wisconsin, it's turning. We got some nice weather outside, but these drafts are getting more and more interesting. We're going to certainly be talking about going where. We're going to be talking about roster builds because a lot of different ways to skin the cat, the proverbial cat, as they say. I think Darik was making this year more interesting, I think, than certainly any we've had in recent years. I mean, so much talent in the first couple of rounds really does give a lot of different ways to build your foundations, right?
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I'm just kind of making sure everyone gets in here. They got the guy on that's going to be on the clock at number 1 is not quite in the draft room yet. So I'm just I'm reaching out. That's what we do here at the NFFC. Now he's in good, so we're just missing one guy in the 5 holes. But yeah, last night I was watching the Rotowire Online Championship. Justin Jefferson fell to pick 8. He had not gone past 6 in any other draft we've had this year. So that was a surprise right there. So we just have different things going on this early. People, while you're still getting your guys and stuff, we're seeing some weird stuff happen. That's why you and I both say it's time to it's good to draft early. Sometimes you can get values, you can see weird things happening. So again, just getting this last guy in, we'll be ready to roll here.
Yeah, I think that's for these early drafts before we start getting more and more news that comes out during training camp and preseason and all that stuff. There was so much talent in the first round. You really can see a lot of players moving in different spots. Certainly, I think the first few picks are going to kind of be locked in. Jonathan Taylor is going to go first more often than not. Occasionally we'll see a different guy at the top, but more often than not, it's going to be Jonathan Taylor at the top there. But it's interesting for these early drafts. You can build things in a different way. Maybe you'll see some running back starts, maybe wide receiver starts, because there is so much depth in the first few rounds. You don't have to be afraid if you start off with a couple of wide receivers. You don't have to worry about not being able to get a good running back. You're not maybe going to get a stud running back, but you can still build good running back depth through the first 3 to 4 rounds, even if you start off with, say, a couple of really good wide receivers in the first couple of rounds.
Yeah, for sure. Again, there's, I think you kind of let the draft come. Now, obviously, if you have the first pick, you know what you're doing. Second and third, you probably have it mapped out. But if you're anywhere 4 or after, you don't necessarily know who's going to be there. You may have a plan, but that can change pretty quick. I'm guessing the team last night that was drafting the 8 hole wasn't expecting to get Justin Jefferson, right? So again, when he falls there, you take him, and then you kind of just move your plan. So I've got team 5 and trying to get it. So we started the draft here. Jonathan Taylor goes first. Team 5, I'm trying to get him into the draft room. So I'm going to step away for 1 second and get him in. All right. Okay. He's in. Scratch that. We're good to go. That's what Tom and I have to do on a nightly basis. That's exactly what Tom and I have to do sometimes. Sometimes you got people struggling to get in. Yep. All right. So we're rolling here.
Yep. That's part of the gig. All right, so Jonathan Taylor goes first, and then we get a couple of wide receivers, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson. As you can see, Christian McCaffrey. Now, the last time we did a live stream, Darik, we had talked about how McCaffrey was falling to the back end of the first round. He is back up into the top half of the first round more and more often in our Rotowire drafts. He goes fourth here tonight, so he's kind of getting back in there in the top 4 to 5 picks. Maybe that was just a fluke there for about a week or so, but he's back into the top 4 to 5 again. So whatever was going on there for a while, maybe just a blip in the curve, so to speak, or blip in the screen or whatever we want to call it. But he's back in the top 4 to 5. Here he goes as a number 2 running back off the board, 4th overall. So after a couple of wide receivers. So clearly the top 2 wide receivers in the NFFC this year, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, and then Jamar Chase. Those are the top 3 wide receivers. I'm not sure that's going to change, Darik. Do you think that changes at all? Now, the order is going to change, but do you think those 3 wide receivers change as the top 3 before our live events in September? I don't think that they're going to change. I think those are the top 3 wide receivers throughout the drafting season.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't. Again, the order can be different. I've seen all 3. I've seen all of them go in different spots, 1, 2, 3 of wide receivers. So again, unless something obviously happens or an injury, I just don't see another guy creeping in there. I don't see Devontae Adams creeping in there. I don't see Tyreek Hill. I don't see. Right. There's nobody else that can sneak in there. So barring injury, that's what you're going to see. And I think you'll see McCaffrey, as you just mentioned, also in the top 5. So we're going to see a lot of top 5s with those 2 running backs and those 3 receivers you just mentioned. And again, we'll get some guys that probably jump a Derrick Henry in there and whatnot. But we're going to see the same top 6 or 7 right up until live events, and that's when you see guys will really start getting their guys, right? So that's when you'll see in years prior, like before McCaffrey busted out, and all of a sudden guys started taking him 7. We hadn't seen him go. Sometimes not even in the first round. So, a few years ago before he had the big breakout. So that's what you'll see come live events. But before then, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to foresee too much happening there. There's so much talent. I don't think you can really go wrong, to be honest. I'll start my team with any of those guys and I'll figure the rest out. So I'm cool with it.
No, I agree with you. I think that's the interesting thing about live events is that's when you see, especially for our top guys that have been doing a lot of drafts, let's say, I mean, even you don't even have to start at this point. If you want to say, let's say from July on, they start targeting the guys they really, really want. Because if you're doing a lot of drafts, let's say from July on, right, you're going to be diversifying in a lot of ways. You're going to be building a lot of different rosters with different varieties. But in the live events, our top guys, for example, they're going to start targeting the guys they really, really want. Right. So that's what makes the live events, I think, even more exciting because you'll see, for example, our Hall of Fame guys or our top money winner guys, they're going to go after the guys that they really believe are going to be able to put them over the top in our big contest. And that's what makes it fun. You mentioned McCaffrey a few years ago. You could see our top players, a couple of top players in particular, Mike Santos, Kurt Kikas, for example. That was a guy they clearly wanted, and they were jumping his ADP significantly in our big money contests, and it literally paid off for him. McCaffrey, that was the first of his really, really big season, so that was a lot of fun to watch that happen.
Yeah, for sure. They actually did the same thing last year with Najee Harris come live events. So, Najee Harris was a first-round pick, but these guys, I believe, are taking him 3 and 4 at some of their drafts when they're getting a chance. So that's exactly what you see. And you're right. That's come July, people will start really jumping their guys. But again, like you said, our volume drafters, guys, a lot of guys drafting tonight and that have drafted, in the first 10 or 11 OCs that we have are volume drafters. So you're going to see them for sure diversify at least through the first 4, 5, 6, 7 rounds, and then once you get down there, they're taking a lot of the same guys because those are the guys, that they really, really believe in down there. And, obviously the opportunity cost isn't high and it's guys you're taking a chance on. To me, once you get past, rounds 9, 10 here, you got your core in these 12-team drafts. You should have your core, I think, at least. So that's when it's time to fire up anybody you want. Again, I'm not a slave to ADP at all, but again, I'm not going to go crazy with guys either. But once it gets down past, 120, 130 players gone, get your guys because you never know. I mean, there's other guys doing the same thing. So, just because a guy is, in 10 drafts has an ADP of mid-round 14, that doesn't mean he's not going to get taken at the end of round 12 or something. So if it's one of your next guys and you need that guy, you want that guy, tag it.
Absolutely. All right, so through the first round and a half so far, we've seen two teams go with two running back starts, Team 7 and Team 12. A couple of running backs to start. One team so far has gone with back-to-back wide receivers. That's Team 10. So, again, various ways to build your core to start. Team 8, of course, with the first tight end off the board, Travis Kelce, to go with his Dalvin Cook pick in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, again, you look at all these, the guys that have two guys so far. Mixon, Swift on the turn, beautiful. Javonte Williams, CeeDee Lamb. I like Lamb a lot. I'm not a huge Dak guy, so I don't know if I can. I don't know how much Lamb I hope I get some CeeDee Lamb because I do think he's in for a pretty darn good season. Then Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel. Again, last week I talked about it would be hard for me to pull the trigger on Devontae, at 10. But, if I'm a volume drafter, I got to mix some of them in. So I would probably end up with a share or two of Devontae Adams this year. And then, Derrick Henry and Diggs out of the 9 spot, Dalvin Cook and Kelce out of the 8, Eckler and Kamara out of the 7. I mean, you can't go wrong with any of those. I would start a team with any of those and be just fine. I mean, sure, I have my favorites, what I would do. But, again, you show me these two guys and you say, you got to start a team with these two guys. Are you going to be okay? Absolutely going to be okay. And I think we spoke to it last week. We're going to see all the way through round 3. Even into early round 4, it's just loaded. You should come out of round. Everybody should come out of round 4 after round 4 feeling very, very, very good about your team.
Yeah, I mean, look at the talent here in the second round here. I mean, really, there's not a bad pick so far in terms of pure talent.
Nope.
I mean, you're getting in the middle of the second round, you're getting Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, all three of those guys with RB1 talent. In the middle of the second round this year, that is just superb value to be able to team those guys with two, in the first round, Najee Harris and Austin Eckler, and then you get Jamar Chase with Team 6, and then he's able to pair him with Aaron Jones. Again, that's the value of being able to take a stud wide receiver in the first round and not worry about being able to get a good to great running back in the second round. Team 6 goes Jamar Chase, and he still had a choice of either Aaron Jones or Nick Chubb in the second round. I mean, that's just great talent there.
Yeah, I mean, again, these guys, I mean, look at, Barkley, Fournette, end of the second round. My God, I'm just, we've seen with Fournette and Barkley go earlier. Last night, I believe Barkley went in the middle of the second round. Fournette sometimes goes even closer to the turn. I don't have a problem with that. So there's the first guy that I have a problem taking. I know you like him. We talked about this last week, so we don't need to, nail us into everybody. I'm just not a Cam Akers guy this year. Not where he's going. And you're kind of on the opposite side. And again, and that's fine.
He's going too late. He's going too late. Being able to pair him with Jonathan Taylor is just fantastic. I'm sorry, just is.
Yeah, if you like Cam Akers and think he's already going too late, for sure, that's a great spot to pair anybody with Taylor. There is good. I don't think the talent of Cam Akers is on par with anyone that's gone before him or even a bunch of guys that are going to go after him. Again, I know the situation is pretty darn nice, and it's the exact same situation last year where he was going basically as right by the turn for sure. ADP might have even ended up first round by the time we were done. Again, I just thought he was overdrafted last year. Yeah, so I just thought he was overdrafted last year, and I just again, it's just not my guy, and I'm going to miss out. And if he has a big year, I'm going to miss out. It's just going to be the way it is.
I got 3. I've done 3 best balls so far. I've got him in every one. I'm not going for 100% ownership, but I've got him late third round in every single one. I'm not passing on him there. I mean, there's nobody who's gone. Now Aaron Jones went 1 pick ahead of him in one draft. I would have taken Aaron Jones over him, but I'm not going to pass on him if you're going to keep gifting him to me in the third round. I'm just not going to pass.
And again, you're saying all 3 that you've done have been best balls. Is that what you said?
So far, yeah.
So far, yeah. Okay. And again, I think that's a little different. I would probably end up with some Cam Akers and best ball depending on where I could get him. Maybe where you're getting him, I'd take a shot or two. But in a redraft league, I'm certainly not. He would not be on my team if I'm drafting. Even team at 10 or 11 or 12. Now I'll have 3 players. Again, they didn't have the chance to take Akers in the third round, but he would not be on my team at this point in a redraft league.
I don't like 100% ownership of anybody, even if I'm super high on a guy, but
except for Justin Tucker. That's okay.
Yeah, except Justin Tucker. But I mean, again, if you're just going to hand me a guy at a value that I think is so great, I'm not taking a lesser player just to avoid somebody who I think is much, much better.
Yeah, no, I agree. Again, we were talking about team builds earlier. Now we have Team 10, who has two wide receivers in Devontae and Debo, and then now just started with Justin Herbert. So now he's gone. He's gone 3 rounds without a running back. So again, like we were saying, let's see how he ends up. But I saw the team that
I'm falling and I can't get up.
Hold on.
All right, that's our help call, people. So yeah, that gives us a chance. I'll talk a little bit about that. That's an interesting strategy. Now, without being able to look at a draft board and see what running backs are available, obviously Etienne's still on the board there. I'm not crazy about Travis Etienne in the 3rd round, so I wouldn't have taken him there. So I'm okay with the Herbert pick. I might have stacked another wide receiver there, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I like Higgins a lot. I like Keenan Allen a lot. So I don't know if I would have gone quarterback there. I'm not a quarterback in the 3rd round guy typically. So, but again, if you're playing a lot of these leagues and you are looking to diversify, then yes, then I would be probably in at least 1 or 2 of them. I'd want to take a quarterback early just to vary it up a little bit. So that would be the only way I would take a quarterback early. Now, James Conner. Now, there you go. That's the running back I would have taken there over Justin Herbert. James Conner still on the board. I would much rather have James Conner in that spot.
All right, I'm back. We got the auction fixed, ready to roll here. Okay, yeah, I'm back at the board. So you were saying, yeah, you're not a quarterback. You're not a quarterback early guy. I am on various occasions. There's times where I would take Mahomes, Allen, and that's why I certainly would not take Herbert before Allen or Mahomes.
No.
I get each to each their own, and you got to, if you want Herbert, you don't want the other 2 because you can't have 2 of them. So again, but yeah, I don't. Again, I think the guy last night. So the guy that got Jefferson at 8 last night, I believe. He also got Debo on the comeback, and then I know he took Mahomes in the 3rd round. So he started the same kind of team 10 did, and I didn't mind his running backs. He got one of our favorites, J.K. Dobbins, in the 4th, and then he took a couple later, and I think he filled out with 6 or 7 in total. And I didn't mind his running backs, and I believe he had the stack of I should look, but I think he had Jefferson, Debo, Hunter Renfrow, and then also had Adam Thielen as a 4th wide receiver. So he had both Vikings wide receivers. That's a nice wide receiver core. So again, so many ways to build a team, and that's what's fun about these. It's just we'll see how it all plays out. And of course, there's going to be drafting now. Sadly, there's going to be a couple injuries before we get going. Hopefully, not too many. But
yeah. But here's the argument I'll make against what he did. Now, it's perfectly fine if you believe Justin Herbert's going to be the number 1 quarterback in fantasy. I don't have a problem with that. He's great. I love the offense. Obviously, is fantastic. I don't have a problem with you making that argument. But you're going to get Justin Herbert in the 4th round of this draft.
Maybe,
right?
Maybe.
I think there's about a 98 to 99% chance he would have been there for him in the 4th round.
I don't know. I don't say it's that high. I say it's over 50%, 60% for sure.
Oh, but again, I bet 98, 99.
As soon as the first quarterback goes, you'll see a lot of times Allen, Mahomes, and Herbert go pretty darn quick.
Okay, 86%.
It's not that high.
It's that high. I think
not at 410. It's not.
I think he would have been there for him in the 4th round.
He might have, but he might have. But still, so now the fact that he has him. Let's see what he does in the 4th round. Now he doesn't have, I'm not going to. Well, he doesn't have Keenan Allen, but let's see. Because he did that, I'd like to see him. And well, now he's not going to get Mike Williams either because he just went. So when you're taking your quarterback like that, most of the time I like to have, one of his big targets. Just because Herbert's going to be your guy. You're going to be using Herbert unless he gets injured, right? So now he doesn't really have that quote unquote stack or whatever you call the 2-person, the combo, whatever everyone wants to call it. But and again, I think most people know that this Rotowire Online Championship does have an overall component. So, you play 14 weeks of league play. And then if you qualify, you play into a 3-week playoff. So, to be able to do well in those, you don't necessarily have to have a stack, but the correlation is pretty darn good. I mean, last year, the guy that won, Billy Wazowski had Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. And I mean, we all know what they did over those 3 weeks. So again, it's fine. He's going to have a naked Herbert now because it doesn't really mean you're not stacking with this Chargers tight end, thinking that you got some great stack there. So now maybe he pulls a wide receiver later out of. That's probably not a guy you can be starting. You're not going to be starting a Jalen Guyton, Palmer likely. Unless something goes wrong with the other two in a league where you're starting 3 receivers in a flex. So again, I don't have a problem with him taking the QB. It's not one I would have taken, but I'm not excited now that he doesn't have Mike Williams or Keenan Allen to go with him.
And he doesn't have Eckler either, obviously.
Yeah, and I'm not so big on the quarterback running back combos because again, it can work. Great offenses, it's fine, but again, when it gets down to the end in that 3 week, I'd rather have a receiver quarterback combo because it's just even a Brady Fournette combo last year, which a lot of teams hadn't made. If you had those two, you probably made the playoffs of that. But I know Fournette got hurt, but at times it almost takes quarterbacks throwing TD passes to receivers in the playoffs for it to work out right. Where a lot more of their TD passes go to wide receivers, tight ends, of course. So again, I don't mind the same team. Like you said, a Herbert Eckler, that's going to be fine during the regular season. But when it gets down to it, I think I'd rather have a Herbert Mike Williams or Herbert Keenan Allen. Just the way I play. It's not right, wrong, or anything. I've seen him work every way, that way too. So, but all right. So let's see. Team 10's back on the clock here. We'll see if he does go running back. Okay.
That's a nice pick there.
He took the right one. There, at least in my mind, he took the right one. So yeah. So that now I like it. Right. It's a nice build. No, he's got a lot of work to do still, but again, he's sitting okay right now. I truly believe it.
All right, so we got 3 teams right now with 3 running backs in the first 4 picks. Teams 5, 6, and 7 with 3 running backs among their first 4 picks. Very interesting starts. I'm not crazy about Antonio Gibson. I wasn't crazy about him last year. Less crazy about him this year, obviously. They're going to go full-blown committee with 3 running backs there. With the rookie and then, of course, McKissick back there on passing downs.
Yeah, I'm not a Gibson guy this year. I will probably have 0 shares of Antonio Gibson. I just don't like the situation. I don't trust it.
Yeah,
I don't even care. I don't even care about Brian Robinson joining the team. To be honest, I don't think he's very good. But I just with the whole McKissick thing, Gibson is your running back 3. I get it. That's where I would like if I had to have him. That's where I'd like to have him. But I don't know that I want to be spending a 4th round pick on my
not in the 4th.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'll take best ball shares of him, but that's it.
Yeah.
And I think if my math is right, 2 teams have 3 wide receivers in their or 3 teams now. My math was wrong, of course. 3 teams with 3 wide receivers in the first 4 rounds. Team 3, Team 9, and Team 11 started off the first 4 rounds with 3 wide receivers.
Yeah, and we see that a lot. And I almost count like Kelsey and Andrews as I know you play them at times. But I would
agree with that.
Yeah,
that's pretty fair.
Yeah, because I think once you have once of those guys, you've spent a pick where you've could have taken a great wide receiver or running back. So to me, Kelsey and Andrews and probably even Pitts this year I consider wide receivers. So I feel okay about my wide receiver being maybe wide receiver 3 and 4 maybe being not as quote unquote as good as they would need to be if I didn't have a Kelsey Andrews or a Pitts, and I settled for maybe a Dalton Schultz or maybe a Cole Kmet a little bit later, somebody like that. But I consider those 3 guys. I think that's those 3 in a kind of in the tier. I think the first 2 with Kelsey and Andrews, and I think it's a little step down to Pitts, and I think there's another step down before I consider Kelsey. This year about Waller, I'm not sure about Waller. Last year scared me, and then obviously the addition of Devontae Adams and Hunter Renfrow being there and being really, really, really good. I'm a little scared off on Waller, so I don't know how much Waller I'll get this year because he'd have to go, probably 6th round before I'd even think about it.
But that's where he's going right now.
Yeah, I mean I've seen him hop to 5th and stuff, but yeah, again, 5th round's too early for me. So
I like him in the 6th and 7th. I think the value there is good. The guy, the tight end that I'd probably gonna end up with a ton of shares of is Goddard.
Yep.
I think Goddard's value is fantastic.
Boy, we're seeing.
He dropped so many balls right in his hands last year. If he starts catching those balls,
yeah, he could be a nice pick. Gabriel Davis, boy, he is moving up, huh? Middle of the pick of the 5th round. Wow,
that's too early for me. I'm sorry.
A lot of that. It's off that one game.
Yeah, I mean, he's this year's it guy.
Yeah, so far for sure.
I mean, think about the wide receivers who's still on the board. You mentioned Thielen, Allen Robinson, guys like that are still on the board. I mean, there's a ton of wide receiver talent. I mean,
people are scared off Thielen.
I mean, Jerry Jeudy. There you go, Allen Robinson. I mean, look at these guys that are still on the board. He's going ahead of.
Yeah, again, good player who took him, that's for sure. So not gonna but yeah, that's just earlier than I would do it. But maybe that's a key. Maybe and if he probably doesn't make it back around, I don't know. I mean, he's been going late fifth or kind of early sixth. So if that's your guy, he had to feel like he had to pull the trigger there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna shed any tears if I don't get any. If I don't have any shares of the guy, because look at we're going after him.
Yeah.
So. I mean, again, I talked about it a lot last year, especially on Twitter and on our Sirius show. Wide receiver was the deepest I've ever seen it, maybe in the history of fantasy football, certainly as long as I've been playing, but this year it might be even deeper. It's just ridiculous. I mean, we say that every year too, and I don't know if does it actually just keep getting deeper. I think it might be just because of the way teams are playing, and now every team's trying to have three good receivers, and it's just like feels like there's just so much passing, and so running back. It's like it just feels like there's just more guys every year. Yeah. I don't know. I've said for many years, I think it's the easiest position to find on the waiver wire because you can stream it pretty much on a weekly basis. You can find pretty much on a weekly basis. You can find wide receivers that can go out and get you 10, 11 points. Maybe not over the course of a month or 2 months or over the course of a season, but on a weekly basis to stream. Excuse me. I think it's the easiest position to fill. I mean, you can find a guy. Think about last year, week 18, or whatever the final week of the season was last year. Was it week 18? I can't remember anymore.
Fantasy season 17, but NFL week.
The last week of the season, which nobody played unless you're insane. Danny Amendola, go back and look it up. Danny Amendola went bananas. Danny freaking Amendola. That's how, because it's all matchup driven for wide receivers. So you find a guy with a plus matchup for that particular week. Go pick him up because nobody's playing Danny freaking Amendola, but he went gonzo for the Texans. That's what wide receivers are, because like you said, everybody's playing three of them. So 32 teams times three, that's what, 90 something, right?
32 times 3 is 96, basically.
There you go. I can do the math, and you can stream these guys. But again, look at the wide receivers all going after Gabriel Davis. Juju sitting in a prime spot. Brandon Cooks, love the guy. Bateman, who's like the only freaking guy in Baltimore this year other than Mark Andrews, right?
Yep.
All these guys going after Gabe Davis.
Yep. I think I would take all those guys before Davis went after him, except right now with Michael Thomas. I'm just staying away from Michael Thomas.
Except Michael Thomas. Yeah, I'm staying away from him.
I'm out. I don't care where he goes. I'm done with it. I'm done with the situation. I don't care. I used to love the guy. He used to be one of my favorite players to own. I'm off. I'm done. I'm just not dealing with the headaches or what I feel might be headaches. He might come back and have a great year, but I'll miss out.
No, I saw some reports come out of OTAs last week in New Orleans. There's still no good vibes about the guy. So, and Jarvis Landry's going off the board rounds later. Jarvis Landry is the guy I'd be targeting. I mean, Chris Olave too, you're going to get some shares, but Jarvis Landry could be a stud in that offense.
Yeah.
And you're getting him for a free square. Nobody's paying anything for Jarvis Landry right now.
It's true. Hunter Renfrow, mid-round 6. I mean, Hunter Renfrow, nice third receiver with Jamar Chase and Allen Robinson and Jones, Etienne, and Breece Hall. That's all right.
So, what are you paying for DeAndre Hopkins right now with the 6-game suspension? Are you paying that price?
It depends what I have. Depends what I have. It depends on my build, but I would pull it in the 7th round if I like my first 6 guys and I feel like I need another receiver at some point. I know I can patch it for 6 weeks, but if I think he's going to be good when he comes back. I know Brown, Hollywood's there, and there's still the corpse that is AJ Green and Anton Wesley coming on, and Rondale Moore. end of the day, I mean, we know when DeAndre Hopkins was healthy last year and the year before, and when Kyler Murray was healthy, we saw what they did together. There is a monstrous chemistry there. So for me, if I only got to worry about 6 weeks, I think 7th round, right where where the team 5 actually took him here in the 6th might be a little early, but I'm not too far from pulling it either. From around 7, I would do it for sure.
That feels early. That feels around early to me.
Yeah.
All right. So we got some news last week about Edward Zlaire. He had off-season illness problems. Lost a lot of weight before camp. Never really was himself. Are you buying into that? Are you feeling better about him? I had pretty much wiped my hands of the guy. Does that change your thought about him at all? Are you looking at him as a value guy, or what are your thoughts about him now after hearing all that?
Yeah, I'm not usually a guy that buys into that. Okay, he had off the field stuff that we didn't hear about last year. But if it truly was gallbladder, and he truly did go down about 160 pounds. My sister had her gallbladder taken out, and it was nasty. So if that was really, really what happened, and that's part of it, I would say it maybe makes me rethink on where I would, end up with some. I'm a huge Ronald Jones guy this year too, so I've been kind of going with the Ronald Jones options in best balls so far. But it makes me think again, because right now, from what we've seen in Ronald Jones of his career, he has not been a very good pass catcher. I think that's pretty safe to say. And with Darrell Williams being gone, which is only pretty much new news, I don't know that Darrell Williams was technically gone the last time we did a live stream. He wasn't obviously on the Chiefs, but he had not signed with the Cardinals or elsewhere yet. So to me now, they don't. Yeah. I don't know that they have a pass catching back that would play on third downs in front of Hilaire. And I know Hilaire hasn't been their pass catching back, but that's what we thought he was going to be coming on LSU, right? We thought it was the perfect fit. So I don't know. I think I'm back in a little bit. So he went in the kind of close to the end of the 6th round. It's mid-6th round. Team that took him only had Dalvin Cook so far. I'm okay with that. I really am.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to feel about that right now. If I was drafting right now, I'm probably not in on him yet. Closer to the season, of course, at that point, there's everybody have more news about him, so the ADP could start going up. So I guess if you're doing it, now's the time to take a shot on him. I'm not sure how I feel about him right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would, again, if I was Team 8 who got him, I'd probably try and back him up with Ronald Jones.
But I think you got to get Jones.
Yeah, I think that would make myself feel a little bit safer about doing it. So
see, I'd rather have Miles Sanders if I'm targeting running back there. But if that team, I'm going Miles Sanders.
Yeah, I don't redraft Sanders is tough for me. Just best ball, I'll have plenty of shares of Miles because I again, he's one of those guys that can score every time he touches the ball. Tougher in redraft for me just because you got Jalen Hurts down there, and then for whatever reason they still use Boston Scott, and he scores against the Giants. And they still last year they brought Howard back. I don't think he's back this year yet, but I mean Gainwell's still in the mix. I don't know. It's just harder in redraft for me to take Sanders. But again, at some point there's a place you take Sanders because if he's your running back 3, which he essentially is for the team that drafted him, then okay, yeah, we're kind of, again, at this point it's personal preference on a lot of these guys. These guys are all going in pretty much the right spot. Yeah, maybe I wouldn't take him for 6 more spots, or I would have taken a guy maybe 6 spots earlier. Who cares? I mean, at this point, I think we're seeing pretty solid ADP being formed on these guys.
We talked about Team 10. That was a team that took Justin Herbert as first quarterback off the board. I think that's a pretty solid roster build so far. Doesn't have a dominant running back, but he's got 3 guys that can contribute certainly with Dobbins, Montgomery, and Sanders. And I like the 3 wide receivers. I think you and I are both, neither one of us like where Devontae's going, but obviously Devontae is a great wide receiver. Yeah. Debo's great. Amon-Ra St. Brown is very, very good.
Tom, it's not even, it's kind of like, it's not, again, it is kind of about where he's going, but it's kind of your team roster too. So when we look at this, and you tell me you have Devontae Adams, Debo Samuel, and Amon-Ra St. Brown as your 3 receivers, and you're still able to have Herbert, Dobbins, Montgomery, and Sanders, then I don't care where I took them, right? That's a solid squad. If this was like an auction team, you'd be pretty giddy about it, right? You say, I got Devontae for whatever he costs and Debo whatever he costs, but you'd be pretty darn ecstatic about that team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's my point. I think he's got a pretty solid team.
Right.
I like the team. I mean, again, doesn't have a dominant running back, but he's got 3 guys who can all be productive. Obviously, I like Dobbins a lot. You do too. Montgomery, we know he's a rock solid running back. We know the issues with Sanders, but one of the issues is not talent. He does not lack talent.
Right.
So,
and that's the thing. I mean, you could reverse those first two picks. I mean, at some point in one of our drafts, somebody's going to take Deebo Samuel 10th, and Devontae Adams will be sitting there at back at 15. It's just going to happen. It's like if those two picks are reversed, then you say, hell, I got Devontae at 15. That's a great value, right? So again, at the end of the day, it's who you have. It doesn't matter where you got him; it's who you have at the end.
Yeah. No, I think he's put together a pretty solid team. I'm not crazy. I still think he could have got Herbert the next round, but I do think, and again, Adam Thielen, 84th overall off the board, just a touchdown machine. That's just crazy value. Just is.
Still such a skinny tree there. I mean, even with Irv Smith back, and let's hope as Vikings fans and just NFL fans and fantasy fans in general that Irv Smith is back and healthy, there ain't a lot to go around there. Again, KJ Osborne, nice guy, solid player, not really an NFL freak. So he's a guy, and they don't have anyone else. I mean, we're not hearing about them trying to bring in anyone else. The biggest news around Minnesota now is we might be bringing D.D. Westbrook back to try and be our punter again. You know what I mean? That's what we're hearing around Vikings land. So there's not a cavalry coming, I don't believe.
I know you're not crazy about Dak, but from a fantasy perspective, Dak puts up numbers. So look at team one. I think this team, I think he's done very well. Obviously, we don't know about Godwin yet, but we'll see what he does for wide receiver depth. But until Godwin returns, obviously Thielen is going to be able to fill in very, very well. So if he's able to put some wide receiver depth together, he's got McLaurin and Thielen. So he's got Waller. He's got three really good running backs. He's got obviously a stud in Taylor, Akers, Mitchell, very, very good. So I think for team one, I think he's done very well. I think his roster, I think he's constructed a strong team. Really well done.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you start with Taylor, you're fine. And again, you're right, Dak. I mean, I don't hate Dak. I'm just like he's a stat compiler, but that works good in fantasy. He just doesn't play well in big and football games. He's a much better fantasy guy for me than an actual NFL guy.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with Terry McLaurin as my number one receiver. I'm just not. Again, so where he took Akers, I definitely would have gone receiver there because I definitely would have taken T. Higgins there, instead of Cam Akers for sure, who went a few picks later. So I would have flipped, Akers with Higgins, and then I certainly wouldn't have gone McLaurin there. I might have done something else again. I would have to seen who was there, but I'd like to see Dak paired with somebody. He doesn't really have. I mean, there's still guys he can get, I guess, but I mean, even Schultz is gone at this point. Obviously, CD's gone, so. It's a fine team. Again, we'll see how it plays out. It's just not my build style. And again, Thielen as a wide receiver 3 is great. I mean, Godwin, again, he's going to need Godwin back healthy. We don't know exactly when that's going to be, but I'm just scared off by McLaurin as my number one. So I love Terry McLaurin. You know that we both do. He's a fantastic player, but I just as a fantasy wide receiver 1 without having, say, a Kelsey or an Andrews, along with them, then it changes things for me. But Darren Waller doesn't quite change the narrative. I don't look at Darren Waller as a wide receiver 1 like I would a Kelsey or even an Andrews or at least close to that. So again, it's fine. I mean, to each their own. It's not my favorite build here though of these teams.
I'm just kind of scanning over the board, looking at some other teams I like. Team 7. I mean, I love any team that gets Kamara in the second round. So that's kind of where my eyes started gravitating toward. Looking at that team, I love A.J. Brown, the player in Philadelphia. I'm not sure I'm feeling great about A.J. Brown, the fantasy player in Philadelphia.
Wouldn't be my wide receiver 1 for fantasy this year. And
no.
I took
I think I would have gone Pittman there.
I would have gone Pittman over Brown for sure.
Yeah. I'm kind of looking at the wide receivers who are still on the board there. Pittman for sure. Maybe even DK. I mean, obviously, DK's got quarterback issues, but DK's so good.
Yeah, that's a tough spot right there. I mean, to me, it's either Pittman or none of those wide receivers there. And again, Jalen Waddle would have been up there for me. Would have been up there for everybody. Obviously, if Tyreek Hill had not gone to Miami, so we've seen Waddle slip into the 4th round in this one.
But I mean, I'm not crazy about Zeke. I probably would have gone Hollywood Brown there. I'm not feeling Zeke at all. If I'm going running back, I would have gone Dobbins over Zeke. I definitely would go Dobbins over Zeke.
Zeke's an interesting. Yeah, Zeke's very polarizing already this year. Some people are still on him. Some people are not on him. I'm surprised we haven't seen. Oh, we have seen Tony Pollard go second pick of the 8th round. So, yeah. Again, I don't know how much Zeke. That's about the right spot, I guess, where you got to take him. I mean, you got to take him there. He's not going to fall much further than that.
It's a fine spot. I'm looking at the running backs who went after him. I mean, I'd go Dobbins, Montgomery, Jacobs, Eli Mitchell, all over Zeke for me.
I don't know Mitchell over him. I'm a little bit worried about Eli Mitchell.
I worry about the durability. When he's on the field, he's productive. And Shanahan's proven he will ride Eli Mitchell. The problem is he's going to ride him into another injury again, but he will ride him.
Yeah, it's very possible. Very possible. That's Kadarius Toney in the 8th round. I don't know that this year yet.
I'm sorry. You guys, Twitter can hype him up all they want. I'm done. I'm sorry. He's brittle. He's a goofball. I don't like the quarterback. Sorry.
They got 5 receivers there right now. I mean, if you're talking, assuming you think Galladay and Shepard and Slayton are all still there, and they bring in Wan'Dale Robinson, and now you got Toney. That's 5 guys for the ball. I mean, again, maybe somebody gets traded. There was talk Toney was going to act. They were trying to trade Toney.
Yeah, so because he's a goofball.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I seen that a lot. Definitely the min pick on Kadarius Toney, unless I'm flat out just missing something. I haven't seen him go that high.
Yeah, I love Galladay. I just hate everything that he's in. I hate the situation and the quarterback and everything. So I'll pass. Yeah. All right. So Rashad Penny, 9th round, 301 overall in this draft. Obviously, Kenneth Walker's there, going well above Rashad Penny. Obviously, 3 rounds earlier. Chris Carson might be done. I mean, with that bad neck injury.
I don't think we see Chris Carson play another NFL snap. Sadly.
I don't. I agree with you. I mean, obviously Penny won people a lot of money at the end of last year. He was fantastic in the fantasy playoffs. Are you buying into Rashad Penny as a potential value pick, considering he's going 3 rounds later?
So the guy that took Kadarius Toney, they were just talking about, got Rashad Penny in the 9th. So that kind of redeems that prior pick. I like Penny. Penny, I mean, he was a 1st-round draft pick, 1st-round pedigree when not a lot of running backs were still going in the 1st round. That was only 4 years ago. Then he just had not been healthy. And we saw what he did. We saw how good he was his final year of college. I don't know that Kenneth Walker is that type of player. And again, here's the thing. It's Pete Carroll. You know he's going to still run the ball. What Penny did for those guys last year, I gotta think. I think I said this last time, but I don't think Pete Carroll's going to forget about that. So is Walker? Definitely, Walker's going to be involved. I mean, the draft capital they spent on him, kind of shows that. But again, there might be enough ball for 2 running backs in Seattle to be, top 25 running backs if they're running the ball all the time.
The question is, are they going to be able to stay in any games enough to run it a lot? Or are they going to be playing from behind all the time?
Well, we'll see. I mean, we don't know about their defense at this point. Who knows?
Yeah.
I at the end of the day, I like Rashad Penny in the 9th round. I'd take him there for sure.
And again, we're not giving out names, but we will say the person who took him is one of the best players in the NFFC. So if that validates your feelings about Rashad Penny in the 9th round, this is a very good player who took him. So. And Chase Claypool then are going at the end of round 9. So we're almost halfway through this draft, moving at a good pace. Tyler Boyd, again, depth at wide receiver. Tyler Boyd starting off round 10. Shows you how deep the wide receiver position is.
Yep, followed
Tyler
by Zach.
Boyd can just play.
So we've got 10 quarterbacks taken. Team 3 and Team 6 have yet to take quarterbacks. Everyone else has grabbed 1, so we've had 10 quarterbacks go, which that's pretty standard, I think, par for the course. There's always 1 or 2 guys that really sleep QB. Team 3 will, I know this guy, so he will sleep QB maybe down to the 18th, 19th, 20th round before he even bothers taking one. Does it most OC drafts that I watch, and it looks like he's on pace to do that again.
Clearly loading up on his wide receivers.
Yep, and then he'll take, you know, probably 3 tight ends that he likes, and he'll go quarterback, defense, kicker at the end, or defense, quarterback, kicker. I can't remember what he did last night. He did something. I think he took Jameis in the 18th round, and then went kicker and defense, and he had all the rest, running back, receivers, and tight ends prior to that. So he might do that again. We'll see. I don't think we'll be on the air all that. We won't be on the air that long. We won't go all the way to round 20, but you know, we're 40 minutes in, and you know, almost halfway done, and it tends to speed up even more at the end. So these are getting done 70 to 75 minutes pretty much every night that we're having them. So just, I mean, quick. I mean, once we get, you know, rolling into the year where we have these at you know, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11:55, you can do all 3 and have plenty of time to make a sandwich and maybe even take a nap in between them. You know, they go that fast. So.
And a lot of people do that. Just let you know, a lot of people do sign up and draft all 3 in one night, or maybe, you know, we'll do the matinees. People might take one in the afternoon and then take a couple at night. So happens a lot. We'll definitely, again, once we heat up, and certainly when training camp starts up in July, our drafts really, really pick up then.
Yes, sir. And this contest is our Rotowire. So, you know, it's 12-team leagues, 20-man roster, just like most of our leagues. But we have this now. This for the first time has a $250,000 grand prize, up from $200,000 last year. We had a fantastic record year last year, and this year we're going to do even more. So we're expecting. I think we're expecting right around 4,400 teams in this. So, you know, it's quite an amount of leagues. So again, we'll be, you know, having to fill. You know, once we get down past July, we're going to be filling 3, 4, 5, you know, and then when we get close to the end, we're filling 20 of these a day. So,
yep. Got a chat in there. I just saw from Henry Mudo, one of our playing on another best ball. I'm not aware of any other sites, Henry, that do best ball besides NFFC. So I'm going to ignore that part of your chat. But you did say you got 5, and you said I would. But again, I'm not aware of any other best ball besides NFFC and best ball 10s. So those are the only sites you should be playing best ball on, though, Henry. But I'll let that slide for now. But good job with Akers. Great value pick. I don't know why people are letting Cam Akers fall so far. I just don't. I don't. Maybe that was 10.
There's people out there like me that just don't think the talent is requisite of where he's being drafted. The situation.
He's a starting running back who's going to get 15 to 20 touches. He shouldn't be going in the 5th round, even if you don't like the talent.
We will see. We will see. Again, there's guys that I like, just other guys that I think are more talented that are going to have just as many touches, or from the running back position for sure, and also just wide receivers I think are just better, and just maybe the way I like to build my roster too. Give me on the sites where I can draft Cam Akers in the 5th round. Give me on those sites so I can win all those leagues, because I'll crush everybody that's playing on those leagues. They're not in the NFFC, that's for sure. No, they're not in the NFFC. So,
all right, we're now in the 10th round. You look at the running backs that are on the board. You got guys like Dameon Pierce, Ramondre Stevenson, Nyheim Hines, guys like that. So we're definitely looking at backups and 3rd string guys. We'll see about Dameon Pierce if he gets a shot there in Houston, maybe. Ramondre Stevenson, obviously part of a committee there in New England. Nyheim Hines.
These are all dart running backs at this point. I mean, the starters are gone, and you got platoon guys or whatever, however you want to call them, back for committee guys, whatever. That's what you're looking at. I mean, of course, there's going to be a few guys from down here that break out. There are every single year. So if you're able to get 1 or 2 of them, it makes a huge, huge difference.
And Team 12 obviously feeling the love for wide receivers in the last 5 rounds, really in the last 7 rounds, outside of Kenneth Walker.
Michael Gallup, no, he's not going to have Michael Gallup for 6 to 7 weeks probably. But again, he's got enough guys in front of him.
He's not going to have to worry about that. He's got enough wide receiver depth.
So not a bad pick down there. I mean, it comes back. He could be fantastic. Well, obviously they lost Amari Cooper and didn't really bring in a whole lot. You got right now. I think they got Jalen Tolbert as the number 2, at least on the depth chart at this point. So there's not a whole lot there. That's why CD is probably going to have a monster target year, and I assume Dalton Schultz is going to have another very, very good year, just based on necessity.
if they don't use Pollard in the passing game, I don't know what the hell they're doing there. I mean, they got nothing. I don't know what they're doing, period, in Dallas right now. They could be flat out terrible this year.
A lot of reliance on Dak. I mean, they're paying Dak a whole lot of money.
Yeah, but
he's a quarterback. They're all making a lot of money, but
even if you think Dak is a superstar, and I like Dak more than you do, I mean, he got to give him something to work with besides Lamb, and I mean, they just don't have much. I mean,
which again, and I was big on Michael Gallup coming into this year, thinking that Cooper was not going to be there or Gallup was not going to be there and going to be somewhere else. I liked Gallup's talent. Now, again, we'll see what the injury does. Does it sap him of some of his athletic ability? At least coming off right away. So we'll see. But I was a Gallup guy. Coming into this year without the injury from last year, I thought he was going to end up in a good situation, whether it was in Dallas without with somebody else being gone or him landing wherever he might have landed. So we'll see.
No, he's very talented. It's just horrible about that injury. No, I like him a lot too. And Christian Watson, 124th overall. Saw some today. OTAs. He's having a lot of problems with drops. Obviously, it's OTAs. Don't want to read too much into it. But just something to keep an eye on. Aaron Rodgers, obviously, not a guy very forgiving of young receivers, and especially not very forgiving of young receivers who drop the ball a lot. Just want to point out, when Davante Adams was a rookie, he dropped the ball a lot.
I was just going to say that.
He was bad
I was going to say that.
as a rookie. To his credit, he worked at it and obviously got much better. Obviously, he's one of the best receivers in the NFL, if not the best. But he was terrible as a rookie. He dropped pretty much everything. So if you're pinning your hopes on Christian Watson,
it's tough when you go from Derek Carr and his beautifully thrown passes to Aaron Rodgers in the NFL. That maybe that contributed to it.
Man, you just hate that dude.
I don't hate him. I actually think he's gonna have a nice fantasy season. This would be like the first year I would ever probably own Derek Carr. I'm actually gonna have you know what? I might take him in the GTD.
You're gonna get him in the auction, or you're gonna get him in GTD.
Yeah, I might do that just for the fun of it, so we can have some fun with it.
I'm gonna throw him out and see how much you bid on him.
No, I do. I don't hate Derek Carr. I just think I always thought the one year that people were thinking he was in the race for the MVP. I just kind of thought that was fishy. He had nice stats and the Raiders were decent. He wasn't the MVP of the league. He wasn't playing like an MVP of the league. So that was kind of the thing that just kind of I was like, come on. But not with the weapons he has this year. It's time for him to put up or shut up. I mean, he had a lot of passing yards last year, right? 4,500 or something. He had a lot of yards. So I think only 24 TD passes. But I see that number going up. It almost has to. I mean, you have Davante Adams, Hunter Renfrow, and Darren Waller. Even Josh Jacobs out of the backfield. I mean, they're going to be throwing the ball.
Yeah, he's got 3 good targets in the passing game. No question about that. And there's Jarvis Landry off the board near the end of round 11. That's a good group of wide receivers for Team 2. Pittman, Cooks, Bateman, Landry. You're gonna have Jamison Crowder.
So the Crowder.
I was just praising you, Team 2. I was just throwing some love at you, and then you do that to me.
So the Crowder pick right now is partly because he's on Buffalo and you get a free look game. You get a free look at the Thursday night game on week 1. So that's why you're going to see Crowder go. You'll see Isaiah McKenzie get drafted where he wouldn't have got drafted if Buffalo wasn't playing the first game where you get a free look. So if he actually blows up, you can put him in your lineup and then never have to worry about him again. So that's why you're going to see some Buffalo guys that might not get drafted. Maybe the Rams, pretty much everyone's going to get drafted anyways. But that's why you're going to see Crowder up here. And you'll see McKenzie go in one of the last 2 rounds just because somebody's taking a shot, which is smart. I mean, you got to know the rules. I mean, again, all of our contests, that Thursday night game that we all get to watch and love is the first game of the year. You don't have to submit a starting lineup until 1 o'clock on Sunday for those Thursday night games. So if they, last year we had guys had Rob Gronkowski thinking he might be their second tight end while he scored 30 points on opening night. So he was obviously in everyone's opening day roster. So you get a free look at that. And again, you should be using that to your advantage at some point, and especially in these contests overall where every single point will matter, right? I mean, every can matter. I'm not gonna say it will matter, but it can matter. So again, I got no problem with that. Again, it's a crowd as a wide receiver 6, it's fine too. It's a guy you can cut later if you need to, if he's not doing anything, or he may be. I mean, there may be enough ball to go around. We saw what Cole Beasley did for years. He might have been quote unquote the number 2, but they are always using 3 receivers, and he was in the slot. So again, that's kind of the role I assume Crowder is going to have. We'll see.
So you were talking about Team 3 a second ago, waiting on quarterbacks. He didn't wait till round 18 tonight, but he does wait till round 12 and gets Matthew Stafford. That's really waiting and paying it off.
Yeah,
to get Stafford round 12. Well done.
Yeah, and again, naked, but who cares, right? You get Matthew Stafford in round 12, so he's just like, I can't. This guy shouldn't be here at this point. I'm going to take him because there's my one QB. I doubt he goes another one, but we'll see. Again, we're not going to go all the way through round 20, but yeah, Matthew Stafford round 12 with the guys he has, I'll take that every single time. Every single time.
That's fan. No, that's sensational. Sensational value.
Yep.
So I'm not a big MVS guy, but I take Valdez-Scantling over.
Well, I mean, over the course, sure. I mean, over the course of, I guess, of a season.
Because I think you can get. I get it. I understand your point about the free look game, but you can get Crowder later.
Yeah, you might be able to. And again, he's got 5 receivers that are obviously going to start over Jamison Crowder on any given week, in front of him. And same thing, I almost look at Marquez Valdez-Scantling the same way. It's like, okay, cool. He's going to he's going to play with Mahomes. That's awesome, obviously. But again, I'm going to have a hard time ever being able to start Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Yeah, no,
it's going to be hard.
I'm with you. I mean, I don't like Valdez-Scantling. I'm not a fan. I'm glad as a Packer fan, I wanted him gone. So I'm thoroughly excited that he's gone. And I say that with the complete understanding the Packers wide receiver core is one of the top or bottom 3 in the league. They're horrible, but I'm glad he's gone. He's just not good.
Just a headache guy, right? Just a guy.
He's just not good. Yeah, he's not good. If for people who are not I don't know how many people out there are old enough to remember Corey Bradford, but Google him. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is Corey Bradford. That's who he is. He is Corey Bradford. Runs really, really fast, catches maybe 30-40% of the passes that's thrown to him, and drops everything else. He's Corey Bradford.
There you go. Sums it up.
Google that, people. You'll trust me. You'll be like, holy crap, Tom's right. He's freaking Corey Bradford. I covered Corey Bradford. Trust me. That's who he is.
Nice.
Greg's at home. Greg's gonna call me out tomorrow on the Sirius show. Greg gets so mad at me when I rip on the Packers wide receivers. If Greg's still listening right now, he's like there's steam coming out of his ears up at his cabin.
He's sleeping. He'll listen tomorrow maybe. All right, so we're midway through round 13 is kind of where we start wrapping things up. Usually we'll see a defense go pretty soon, or a defense or two, and that's kind of where, again, then it's just guys grabbing their guys, which was what you do at this point in the draft. Anything in the last few rounds that we haven't really seen that popped out that you're looking right now? I don't see anything really.
Nothing yet. No, I mean, again, it's depth at this point. Again, like you said, we'll see defense. We may not be at the point of the live stream when defenses will start coming off the board. At this point, it's depth. I mean, guys are, going after wide receivers and running backs, backup quarterbacks. I think everybody's got their starting quarterback at this point, right? I think everybody's got a starter. Yeah. So it's depth right now. You're just looking for depth guys.
For sure. Couple of rookie running backs still look like they're on the board. One in particular that I'm surprised hasn't gone. Maybe I'm missing. I'm not going to say who it is in case people are actually listening, but one surprise that's kind of surprised me right now that I think is gone round 10, 11, 12 in a couple of the past OCs that it's not off the board yet. So other than that, pretty standard. Good drafts. Again, you look at it, I don't hate any of these teams again, and you probably shouldn't at this point, but sometimes we see some weird builds in one I'm on. And there's the running back I was talking about right there. Tyrann Davis-Price of the 49ers. He's moved up recently, and I think I saw him go in the 10th round last night, maybe early 11th. So I was surprised he was still there. That's a guy, again, San Francisco situation, a better fit, and basically the same draft capital as Trey Sermon, who was obviously a bust last year. But Trey Sermon was going, look where Trey Sermon was going last year, right? Round 6, 7 by the end.
And how'd that work out?
Did not work out. So again, this guy fits the mold a little bit better of what San Francisco likes to do. He's faster. I mean, he's much faster than Trey Sermon. So maybe more of a Shanahan type back. Again, who knows? Could be nothing. Could be something. Again, San Francisco does what they do. and the rest of us just have to figure it out.
And now for teams that don't take even a mid-tier tight end, teams 5 and 6, I think 4 and 5, did what I think you have to do here, and that's kind of double up, right? Now we don't know Gronk's situation. We kind of are assuming he's going to return, but so team 4 goes with Gronk in the 11th, and then Gesicki in 12. Team 5 goes with Kmet in 11, and then Irv Smith in 13. But I think that's what you got to do. Derek, agree or disagree with me on that? Even if you're not going to take like a second-tier guy, if you're going to wait and go in that third tier, I think you got to double up. You got to try to get 2 guys, and then you got to be streaming. Is that the approach you would take? It's the approach I would take.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think, if you have like a Kmet and Smith, I think you have to kind of lean towards one and then just have them both, right? So like you said, you can stream, but again, to me, I'm a little bit higher on Cole Kmet this year than Irv Smith. I think there's so many.
I can't get up.
I might have to stop the auction here.
Yeah, I think that, to me, that's the approach, because you're clearly, even in like round 10, when Knox and Freiermuth are going forward, even at that point, you're still taking those guys and hoping to start them pretty much on a weekly basis. Maybe there's going to be some weeks where the matchup isn't so great, and maybe you're drafting a backup and plugging those guys in. But I think even at that level of the group, those guys are guys you're feeling like you're going to be able to start pretty consistently. But now you get into the next tier, the Cole Kmets and the Irv Smiths and even Gronk. Maybe Gronk moves up, assuming he does come back to Tampa Bay. Now you're going to be streaming guys. So you don't want to have just one guy. I think you want to get 2, and I think you want to get 2 from the same tier, as close together as possible. So I do think you maybe want to go back to back or get 2 in the next 3 rounds to get a group, 2 from that same group. I think those 2 teams kind of did the right approach. Certainly did the approach that I would do. So I agree with what they did.
Yeah. Again, like I said, I would lean one because I don't want to be guessing wrong every time. So if I'm leaning one way, I still might be wrong, but eventually I'm going to figure out that I'm leaning wrong 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and then go the other way. So you're right. You don't maybe necessarily know which one of Kmet or Irv Smith are going to be better this year or on most weeks. But again, I agree with what you're saying. Yes, you got to kind of place 2 kind of similar bets. There is the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I think we'll close it out after the end of this round here.
Yep. Bills defense went. That means it's kind of, you'll start seeing the other ones go, and we'll start seeing team kickers come off. And then again, like you said, depth picks and filling in, but everyone's core is pretty much set. And if you hit down here, you're even sitting better. As we're going, again, we mentioned earlier, tonight is the last night for getting $100 off all prime times and classics. So make sure if you're still doing that, get them in. We've had a record day of primetime signups. I think we're going to get close to 100 by the time we're done. So people are getting in under the wire for sure. Don't be left out. Again, you have for sure till midnight Central, 1 Eastern. So make sure you get them in by then.
Yep, either midnight Central or whenever Derek falls asleep. So it may be a little bit later than that. So, it depends on when Derek decides to shut it down for the evening. So,
yeah.
But unofficially, 1 p.m. Eastern, midnight Central. So at least a couple of more hours. Like Derek says, the response has been fantastic. So thanks to all of you who've already taken advantage of it. Those of you who haven't, again, $100 off every primetime and classic that you take for the next couple hours tonight. That's our early bird discount, and we're looking forward to it. Got live drafts in Las Vegas, New York. We're hoping to officially announce a New York location, hopefully real soon. We're locking that up as we speak. We think we got that. Hopefully we got that set up pretty soon. So I think we'll get that contract signed pretty quickly, and then of course online as well. So take advantage of this deal. It's a great one. Like Derek says, we're going to have a record number of signups. Take advantage of that offer already. So, and this draft's been a lot of fun. We're going to be doing more of these. I'll announce probably in the next few days, maybe by early next week or this weekend when the next one will be. Try to vary them up a little bit, do some cut lines, keep the rotowires going, maybe do some other ones as well, but keep doing these as the weeks and months go.
We'll work an auction in there too. One night.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. We'll definitely want to do an auction. We're going to talk some auction prices tomorrow night on the Sirius show, since we got one in the books now. All right, so we got 14 rounds in the books. 6 are left, if my math is correct. So, Darik, I want to thank you for joining me again tonight. Thanks to all who have tuned in. Again, hit that subscribe button, smash it, as they say, on our YouTube channel. I want to thank all of you for tuning in tonight. Sign up for everything at playnffc.com. Don't forget that early bird bell. Live draft in Vegas, New York. Take advantage of that online. Entry fees at $25. Plenty of drafts every single day. We'll be doing these live streams as well, of course. Those coming up. Interviews as well. I think Greg's talking to Chris Eibel tomorrow. Is that right, Darik? Right?
That was either today or tomorrow. I think it comes out tomorrow. It was either today or tomorrow. But yes, Chris Eibel is the next one for sure.
Yeah. That's the next one. So, all right. So, Greg's talking to Chris Eibel. So, again, interviews, all of that on the YouTube channel. So, again, thank you all for tuning in tonight. Take advantage of all the drafts we got at playnffc.com. Thank you all. Good night.